Okay, we finished playing and we're ready to put the horn back in the case. We should do a little maintenance, and this maintenance will keep your visits to the repairman down, and you'll have more money to spend on reeds and more instructional DVDs, of course. And we'd like to thank you for buying this DVD. We're by no means finished. I just wanted to show you this basic maintenance thing. I have a swab here. It looks like a boa. This is from Cannonball. This is like some kind of dragon swab or something. I like it. It works quite well. It's essentially a cloth, a bunch of pieces of cloth. A lot of them are made from silk. Silk's very absorbent. Absorb that spit right out of the horn. And it's weighted and padded on the weight so it doesn't bang up your horn any more than the microphones have banged up my horn. It's weighted here on both ends. And this other one is a swab for the neck. I'll put that down for now. Okay, we take our neck off. We do that loose. You don't need to just turn it until it's not tight. And first thing, before you take that neck off the horn, always put the cap on the horn. Mouthpiece cap right there. And we'll take the neck off as a whole. And be careful when you're handling a neck. Most of your necks will be like my alto neck, where it's coming traditional around the front. You don't want to squeeze that. You start squeezing. Brass is fairly soft, and you could squeeze it out of shape. You can also squeeze it right back into shape too. But you have to kind of know what you're doing. So be careful as you're handling any parts of these saxophones. And set that down. Okay, what we do is take this off our neck. And on this swab, I go through the bell, drop that weight down there, and drop as much of that cord down because you have to make it through. Now, when we're handling the horn and we're not playing it, it's best to just handle it anywhere on this solid stuff and not touch it on the keys. Tell your mom that, tell your friends that, tell guitar players that. If they're ever going to move your horn, which hopefully they wouldn't, but if they had to, that it's just always safest not to touch any of the mechanism. Just, cradle it, especially right here on the bell. You can hold one hand on the bell. This is a berry, and that's a little rough. So flip it through, and I just pull that through, dry it out. And if you can, let it set out if you have a stand at home, you could let it sit out for a little while and then put it in the case, or let the case sit open so the air can dry it more. Handle it, put it in the case. Good idea to always have, there's an end plug that should have came with your horn. If it didn't, buy one. They're a couple dollars. A little piece of plastic sits in here. What it does is protects this little piece of octave key mechanism, which is vulnerable because it's sitting up beyond here when the horn's not assembled. So take that. The last step is to take your mouthpiece off, handle the neck gingerly so I'm not touching the mechanism on that. Take my mouthpiece off. I run this. This is for my alto, so it's not going to fit through here. Essentially run this through there, grab it out the other end, essentially dry it out. You can do the same thing on a mouthpiece. Generally best to take the reed off before you do this. I like to take my mouthpiece off and rinse it, is better for me. And then I put the reed back on. I leave my reed on in my case. There's different schools of thought on that. Some people leave their reed in water, distilled water with a small amount of alcohol, or hydrogen peroxide, and that they live soaking in a liquid. And the hydrogen peroxide or the alcohol is there so that it kills any kind of mold that would develop in the water or from the reed. I tend to leave them on my mouthpiece, and then I come back and I re-wet, and I try to have a good sealed mouthpiece cap so that it's retaining some of that moisture. And I play a lot, so it's constant.